Hey you! Today we're going to be talking about the DVD release from Manga Entertainment, which is Power Rangers Ninja Steel. That's right! I'm rewatching the series again. So yeah, I have to admit, you're going to find out in the review of what I kind of think about it. So let's just jump straight into it. With Super Dino Charge coming to an end, a brand new team has taken up the Power Ranger mantle, and a lot of this does not make sense. There are so many traces of Dino Charge and Super Dino Charge. From Brody trying to find his family, mainly his dad. His dad is the main thing he talks about this all the time. If you don't know, Ninja Steel starts off with Brody and his brother as well as his dad. They're all training to become ninjas, and apparently Brody's dad is the ultimate ninja. I'm sorry, Ninja Storm, you're just not ultimate. You're good ninjas, but this guy tops all of you in one go. Really wish they didn't say that. Galvanax and his crew arrive on Earth after they have followed the Ninja Nexus Prism. I actually just thought it was the Nexus, not Ninja, just Nexus Prism. And inside is a Ninja Star that has all the Power Ranger powers, as you know, from them, all of them, but it's one big star. Brody's dad reaches in and grabs the star. He becomes the ultimate kind of Red Ranger. Has like lots of like fancy stuff on him, and he gets defeated by Galvanax because he throws his ninja star at him or something, and he gets cut into multiple ones, sent back into the prism, and then obviously his dad has just disappeared. Galvanax kidnaps Brody. He's not taking him on ship, he kidnaps him, and 10 years later we see the adult version of Brody, and he wants to escape Galvanax's ship. Galvanax is a kind of a TV host or kind of pirate station in a way. He has Galaxy Warriors, which again, if you haven't seen my 9 things you've missed in Power Rangers thing, number 10 is Galaxy Warriors is what Power Rangers was going to be called before Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There's number 10 for you, right there. Brody escapes the ship with Mick and Redbot. Mick is the kind of like the tech guy, I'm guessing, on the ship. I thought he was the janitor, but no, he's the tech guy. He knows a lot about stuff. Redbot is just Redbot and just follows him. Brody and that take the prism and they return to Earth to find other Power Rangers and fight people, because that's the premise of the TV show. We're introduced to the other characters: Preston, Haley, Calvin, and Sarah. They are the main Power Rangers that we are going to see, and they obviously get their ninja stars from the actual prism themselves. We now have a whole new team to defend the Earth, so yeah, that's kind of cool. So first of all, there are no special features. There's never any special features. I want special features. I want to see interviews. Hire me. I will do that for you. I will go to New Zealand and interview people. I do it at MotherCon. That's coming up too. Check out the channel down below. On the disc, you get 4 episodes: Return of the Prism, Forged in Steel, Live and Learn, and Presto Changeo, which I actually generally like that name of that episode. It sounds really kind of cool. Return of the Prism, again, I don't know why it's called that. I would have called it the Ninja Nexus Prism. To start it off, feels like this has been out already, that we've seen it. You know, it can't be the return because just the names. Apart from Presto Changeo, I don't like the name Return of the Prism. It should be changed. I'm talking too much. So as I've just said at the very beginning of the video, we are introduced to Brody, his dad, and his brother. The Ninja Nexus Prism goes on the ship with Galvanax. Brody goes up there, and then obviously it turns into a whole different TV show. This is when Brody meets Preston and Sarah. They become Power Rangers. Redbot tells them stuff, and then that's pretty much the whole gist of the episode. If it sounds confusing, it feels like I've just done an episode of Ninja Steel. Although I will give it justice. It is a very good way of it to actually jump in, to actually introduce you to Power Rangers and Ninja Steel. It is something cool. It's just, I wish it could be written better. We all wish it could be written better. If you wish it could be better, pop it in the comments down below. Forged in Steel is the next one. Now, this is where I have a huge problem with it. In the episode, we find out that Brody's dad has melted down the Ninja Steel, but If you watch the first episode, there is no way in hell he could do that in a short amount of time. Because as soon as the prism hits Earth, they're outside fighting. So how does he do that? How? It just doesn't work. Nah, it doesn't work. But Brody, Sarah, Preston, Redbot all go back to his house, to Brody's house, because he knows where it is, to see if his dad is there or his brother. But when they get there, there's nothing there. And again, a house that has been vacant for 10 years? Oh, it just doesn't, some of this does not make sense. Then we meet the other Rangers. We meet Calvin and Haley, and then they're driving to school, I'm guessing, or someplace, and this is where they find Mick. Mick is kind of going, hey, I'm Mick, you know, blah, blah, blah. They meet them. This is then when we switch back to the house, and apparently, because the guys are looking for Ninja Steel, they don't know where it is. They find a picture of the trophy, and they go, oh, it's inside the trophy, isn't it? And then they head to school. The monster of this episode is called Ripper Rat, and he's a rat with giant chainsaws for hands, which, again, is kind of cool for the first bad guy that they've got to defeat. Calvin and Haley take Mick to the school, and he is mistaken for a teacher now. And you kind of think that the principal or whoever would do a proper check rather than just turn around and go, you're the person, 100% you are that person, you know. What? Anyone can walk in and become a teacher? Sarah and the others find the Ninja Steel, it's in the trophy, and Ripper Rat attacks the others. Calvin and Haley get their ninja stars. The prism arrives, they reach and they grab the ninja stars, and they all become Power Rangers. They defeat Ripper Rat, he turns giant, the prism shows, hey, this is how you're going to get your Zords, and then they obviously take down Ripper Rat quite quickly. We find out that there is meant to be another ninja star, but it's disappeared. We know that obviously Galvanax doesn't have it, the Rangers don't have it, and obviously the Ranger doesn't have it, whoever it is, which we all know it is, but it's actually Madame Odious. She has the Ninja Star. Live and Learn is the next episode. This is Spinferno. He is the main bad guy, and he's actually kind of the coolest one so far. We come to the main base, and again, the main base is in the school. Oh, I would have had it at Brody's house, because it would have been a lot better and more relaxing. You know, you could have got away with a lot more stuff. But Mick is making Ninja Steel, and he throws it into the prism, and the prism throws it back and gives them element stars. They start training in the back, and I've got to admit, it's kind of funny. They try and figure out how to use the Ninja Stars, so they start using like water and stuff, and like, oh, who wants to use fire or whatever element? And after Brody has said this, people just run away. I kind of found that a little bit funny, because it's like, oh, don't want to. So this episode shows that Brody is relying on his datacom. He finds out how to beat Spinferno as he rushes off and defeats him as the other Rangers aren't there. Then when Brody is back in his kind of classroom, you know, he uses the datacom to actually to get all the answers, and then is classed as a cheater. But he doesn't know this, so we'll give him a pass. This is when Victor gets really jealous on this. He also gets jealous. The fact is that the Power Rangers, or Brody as the Red Ranger, has had more views on YouTube than he has on his entire video or something. So it now becomes the thing of how he must defeat Spinferno. And this is when Victor now declares that he wants to be more popular than the Power Rangers for that one video. I generally hate Victor and Monty in this. Just speaking their names gets me angry. So they go off to fight the monster because the datacom has told them that to become more popular than a Power Ranger or the Power Rangers, you must defeat a monster. So they decide to go out and actually try and defeat Spinferno. What actually happens is they mess up, there's a bit of comedy slapstick, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The Rangers then, when they actually come and meet Spinferno, they start trying to defeat him in multiple ways. So they use the element stars, you know, to kind of chain him up so he can't get out, but Spinferno decides he's going to run away. The Rangers then say, look, we've got an idea. Calvin, you've got to go after it. Use the water element and like race him. We've got a plan. Once it's happened, you'll know. So as Calvin turns around and says, yeah, do you know what? We'll do it. They rush off and they capture him, and they use like a kind of wooden thing, like they use the forest element star to kind of capture Spinferno, and then they defeat Spinferno. Spinferno doesn't grow into a giant monster because he has not got through to that round. So in fact they send a Skullgator. Skullgator becomes hugely massive, and the Rangers then use their Zords to attack, and rather than going straight to Megazord mode straight away, we see that they are attacking. And I actually generally like this. The Megazord fight was really cool. But then they form the Megazord because they want to use their teamwork together, like the elements or something. They form their Megazord and they take down Skullgator. At the end of the episode, Brody says that Galvanax has cut off his communication to the datacom, so he can't get information from the ship. Brody says that he's worked with Mick to actually make ninja comms so they can keep in contact and they can talk. And it's like, yay, that's really cool. Victor and Monty have their own YouTube video, which is just like a mashup, and it's like, oh my god, it's got 3 million hits, and Victor is really happy. I just generally hate them in this. They may get better later on, and I hate to say it, I think they get more character development than any of the other characters, but Presto Changeo is the next episode. This whole episode is about Preston actually learning that he can do magic through the power of the Ninja Star. So he puts on a show, it doesn't really work very well, and altogether he then gains the ability. He starts getting kind of a very big head about this, and it's kind of annoying, but he kind of learns the error of his ways. As Preston doesn't know that he's got magical powers from the Ninja Steel, he tries to tell everyone like, hey, guess what? I can do this. And they don't believe him because they're trying to actually fix a car up for Brody. Soon the Rangers meet Galvanax, and they're about to fight. Everyone's kind of giving him jib to actually get him really angry. But this is when Madame Odia says, don't do this, because if you do, and you look like a fool, people are going to stop watching your show. And this doesn't kind of really get into his head because he thinks he's going to win. But then, obviously, they send down a monster. And I think it's Slogar. Slogar is kind of like a turtle type of bad guy. He has the ability to slow down the Rangers. And I actually thought this is a really cool idea. Preston, again, is getting a big head of his magic. And he's putting on a show, he's trying to do a lot more stuff. Kelvin, Haley, and Sarah are all kind of really slow, and they start kind of feeling the effects. As soon as they go outside, Slogar turns up, and the Rangers try to morph, but because they're so slow, he actually grabs their Ninja Stars. We're going to talk about that at the very end. Preston is kind of annoyed that he can't use his magic properly. It's because he's not using it for the right things, he's using it for gain. He kind of realizes with Brody as they morph and they fight, and then Preston can use his magic to what he wants, and it helps him in the fight. Brody gives Preston a pep talk, and you see this all the way through the episode where he's like, my dad said this, and my dad did this, my dad said this, so you should be okay. As soon as Slogar is defeated, the Rangers call on the Megazord, and they actually form the Megazord, but they decide to go with the Dragon formation, which looks really cool actually, I have to admit. I don't think you really see it again that much, but it looks a lot different than the actual Megazord itself. They defeat Slogar, and then obviously Preston goes back to put Monty back together because he sawed him in half, and he turns him into a Minecraft character, or the same sort of square body. I did kind of like the little puns that they put in about the squareness. I thought that was kind of cool. At the very end of the episode, the Rangers give Brody his car, his dad's car. They've done it up. But first of all, how the hell can Brody drive? It doesn't say anywhere. Or you can't be left to presume that he can, but he gets in the car and he can drive. He can't drive at 10, or maybe he drove for Galvanax. Who knows? Oh, it's just little things like this that kind of really annoy me. What made this interesting for me? I have to say, not a lot made this interesting for me. Mainly because everything felt rushed. Everything didn't make sense, and it felt like they were trying to capture Dino Charge and have that sort of element. Obviously you had Tyler and his dad, now you've got Brody and his dad, and it felt kind of boring. There feels like there is no basic building, so you see there's nothing there to actually hone the story. You're given the whole thing of, here is the Ninja Prism, here is the Power Ranger stars, Brody's dad gets destroyed, but you don't know what happens to him. Brody on the ship, Brody in school, and that's it. There is nothing to kind of build up, and I know it's at the very beginning of the series, but at least Dino Charge and even Megaforce and Samurai had the building blocks to actually tell you, not feel like it was rushed at all. There are things that didn't make sense. The base in the school. It would be more logical to have it at Brody's house because no one can come in. What happens if Victor and Monty in the last few episodes walk into the base, or the base gets destroyed, the school gets attacked? Oh, there is so much stuff that just doesn't make sense in Ninja Steel, and I can see why it is one of the most hated series of them all. It's not the actors' fault, they are great. It's just the writing for this whole series. You also have Mick being a teacher. Brody always constantly saying, my dad said this, and it's a ninja saying. It got me. It made me angry. The whole thing with the Ninja Steel. You know, how did Brody's dad go from running outside to where it's landed quite quickly, where the bad guys come, to actually knowing how to melt down the actual metal, to actually form it to do stuff? These are things that don't make sense, which really bring it down. In the first 4 episodes, you are left with so many questions that just don't make sense. And it's very frustrating that when you've had a really good series to this, it pains me to actually go, why? Why? So now we come to my final thought. As I've said before, Ninja Steel is not really liked by a lot of fans. I think that it just hasn't like kind of cemented well. Super Ninja Steel, by the way, is actually okay and it's actually watchable. But when you first watch Ninja Steel, it's not the best thing in the world. It just feels, as I said, rushed. It feels like there are so many questions that you shouldn't be asking all these in the first 4 episodes. You should be asking 1 or 2 and then kind of enjoying the story. I like the actors in it. I generally do like them. I think they are awesome. But I think that with Nickelodeon or Saban at the time of writing, or whoever is writing it, just doesn't care. You've gone from a really cool series to something that is full of fart jokes later on. The series isn't being looked after, and it's more like Nickelodeon's gone, we want something funny, put in Victor and Monty, they must do funny crazy stuff all the time, but it's really cringy. I think there's like an episode coming up where Victor is constantly hitting on someone, or has already, and people are like, no, and he's like, oh, no. You think that after the success of Dino Charge and Super Dino Charge, that you would keep with that writing. The fact is that you wouldn't change it, you wouldn't go down. Just because Super Dino Charge and Dino Charge, they weren't perfect, but they were engaging. You didn't need to have such comical characters all the time, or people trying to be funny. It was a really good flow of story, which everybody liked. I didn't like the fact that they were going for the same formula with Tyler's dad as well as Tyler, with Brody and his dad, saying that Brody's dad has disappeared and now they've got to go find it, as well as a brother. I feel that that story has been tapped and could have at least stopped, and they could have done it much later on in another series rather than straight away. But yeah, if you're going to get this, and if you like Ninja Steel, or if you are a collector of Power Rangers, then by all means get this. But just be frustrated with how it is at the moment. It's something that I wouldn't recommend. Generally, I am not a huge fan of this one, and this is something that I would possibly stop collecting. I would go more for Super Ninja Steel because that was actually a lot more entertaining. But yeah, I'm going to put a link to the description where you can buy this if you can pre-order, or by the time that you see this and it's out, that you can pick it up. Link will be in the description down below. So Rangers, I'm going to leave it there. If you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to have out the channel on Patreon, link is in the description down below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.